Welcome to this extraordinary journey through the timeless story of the Bhagavad Gita, one of the most profound, thrilling, and spiritually powerful epics ever told. But this is not just another story. This is not a story written merely for entertainment. This is not a film created for us to watch and forget. And this is not simply a tale of kings, warriors, and a great war. This is the story of a moment that changed the course of history. A story of duty and destiny. A story of love and loyalty. A story of fear, doubt, courage, and inner conflict. And above all, a story of divine wisdom, revealed at the very moment when a human being was lost between what his heart wanted and what his duty demanded. Thousands of years ago, on the legendary battlefield of Kurukshetra, two great armies stood face to face, ready for a war unlike any the world had ever witnessed. And in the midst of that battlefield, a divine conversation took place between Lord Krishna and Arjuna. A conversation that began with one warrior's confusion, but became a timeless guide for humanity. The words spoken there were not meant only for Arjuna. They were meant for every person who has ever faced fear, confusion, difficult choices, failure, responsibility, or a moment when they did not know which path to choose. So, as we begin this journey, let us step back thousands of years. Let us enter the world of the Mahabharata. Let us enter Kurukshetra. And let us discover, one chapter, one verse at a time, the timeless wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 1, Verse 1. The beginning of the Great War. Thousands of years ago, on the sacred land of Kurukshetra, two enormous armies stood facing each other. The armies of the Kauravas and the Pandavas had gathered for a battle that would change the course of history. On one side stood the sons of King Dhritarashtra, the Kauravas. On the other side stood the sons of Pandu, the Pandavas. War was about to begin, but far away from the battlefield, in the royal palace of Hastinapura, sat King Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra was the king of Hastinapura, but he had been born blind. Because he could not see the battlefield with his own eyes, he depended on his trusted advisor, Sanjaya, to tell him what was happening. Sanjaya had been blessed with a special divine vision by sage Vyasa. Through this divine vision, he could see and hear everything that was happening on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, even from far away. As the armies prepared for war, Dhritarashtra's mind was filled with uncertainty. He knew that both his sons and the sons of Pandu had gathered on the battlefield. He knew that the battle was about to begin. And then he asked Sanjaya. Dhritarashtra said, Dharmakshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta Yuyutsava, Mamaka Pandavascheva, Im Kurvat Sanjaya. King Dhritarashtra asked Sanjaya, O Sanjaya, when my sons and the sons of Pandu gathered together at Kurukshetra, ready to fight, what did they do? And with this simple question, the greatest spiritual dialogue in history begins. Dhritarashtra calls the Pandavas the sons of Pandu. but his own sons, my sons. His words already reveal the attachment he has toward his own family. The battlefield is called Dharmakshetra, the field of righteousness, because Kurukshetra was considered a sacred land. But now, that sacred land was about to become the battlefield of a great war. Dhritarashtra could not see what was happening, but Sanjaya could. And as Sanjaya began to describe the battlefield, the story of the Bhagavad Gita truly began. The armies were ready. The warriors were prepared. And soon, Arjuna would ask Krishna to place his chariot between the two armies. What happened next